So let's get more on this from our Spanish football expert, Guillem Balaguer, who joins us on the phone. Good evening, Guillem.
Good evening.
Well, it's been a bit of a pursuit, this, hasn't it? It looked like it was going to happen in the summer, then it didn't. Was it always inevitable, do you think?
Nothing is inevitable, but it's going to happen, and it will be announced tonight. Tonight, Barcelona and Liverpool will, I'm sure, make a joint statement in which you would say, depending on medical and, of course, personal terms, in brackets, which have been agreed for a long while, since last summer, really, between Coutinho and Barcelona, everything will go through. So it's 160 million euros, which is about 142 million pounds, more or less, depending on your exchange rate. And that is about 120 million euros of a fixed sum and about 40 million euros of adds-on. Adds-on that, in a huge percentage, are relatively easy to get. So it's a huge, huge figure. But there was the promise of Barcelona to his squad, to Messi, to the big stars, that they were going to reinforce when the talents were available, that the kind of players they've been looking for. Coutinho was one, Griezmann is the other one. But in the case of Coutinho, they saw so much that could benefit Barcelona. And both Barcelona and Coutinho wanted to do this now, not next summer. And, of course, Barcelona get a midfielder who can play as a forward, or the other way around. They feel that Coutinho has to improve certain things to be another Iniesta or playing that role, but they feel that the adaptation process that will take place in the next few months will help. Everybody is happy, of course, in the Camp Nou. Barcelona have not confirmed anything yet, neither have Liverpool, but I'm hearing that it will take place tonight.
Interesting the way you've described how it breaks down. The add-ons, you say, are very gettable. Now, there are some reports, aren't there, that Coutinho's using some of his own money towards the move. Have you heard something about that?
Yes, it's a story that comes from his entourage, and I believe it's true. I don't know exactly the figure. A figure has been mentioned. It's 15 million euros that belongs to him, would have belonged to him in this transfer, would have gone into the final transfer fee that Barcelona had to pay. In any case, Barcelona have always made very clear, both to Coutinho and to Liverpool, when the conversation started being more fluid in the last few weeks, that they wanted the player. To such a point that you know, the Liverpool, I think they would have started negotiating from 150, but I think they actually got more from Barcelona. I'm not saying they were desperate, but certainly they wanted to get this player. Barcelona are in a process of recycling. They're going to get rid of about 8 players, some of them certain names that have been regulars at Barcelona, and they need to bring the talent that will put Barcelona at the top. You see the table and you think they're not so bad, and they, of course, are in the Champions League, in the next round of the Champions League, but Barcelona have identified a lot of weaknesses, and one of them, of course, is a replacement to Iniesta and to Neymar. Coutinho can fill some of those gaps. It's quite clear that he had in his head that he wanted to leave, so even though Liverpool have tried to convince in the last few weeks and hours Coutinho to actually stay until the end of the season, even if there was an agreement with Barcelona, finally it has been decided by all parts that the deal had to go through now, and as I said, this will be confirmed tonight.
And the pressure you were talking about from the players like Messi to make a big signing, to sign a player like Coutinho, where do you think he'll be getting into the Barcelona team this season?
Well, of course, he cannot play in the Champions League, but that's not seen in Barcelona as a handicap. I insist, as part of the analysis that Barcelona technical side have done of Coutinho, they see that he's more at the moment a forward than a midfielder, but they want to make him more of a midfielder. He's got the vision, the understanding, the intelligence to dominate games in a kind of role, as I said, like in front of Busquets, where Iniesta plays. And Iniesta cannot play 2 or 3 games in a row, so perhaps he will focus more into the Champions League, while Coutinho will continue keeping the level of Barcelona high in the league. That's the plan. As I mentioned earlier, when Messi renewed his contract, one of the conditions he put to Barcelona, and this is not in the contract, but he told them by voice that he wanted the club to continue performing at the highest level, to continue challenging for titles, and everybody agreed that the way Barcelona was going at the moment, it was getting old, and they need to reinforce the side. So 8 players will leave between now and the summer, and top guys, top players will come. Coutinho is the first one of them. Now they will try to get Griezmann, which will cost around 100 million euros more. Figures that are amazing, really, but figures that belong to the kind of market we live in at the moment.
I mean, you talked about how Barcelona were insisting on getting this deal done in January. Do you think they're going to try for Griezmann this month, or will that be for the summer?
No, that will be for the summer. His buyer cost at the moment is 200 million euros, but I think it's the 1st of July it changes to 100 million euros. And I think both Atletico Madrid and Griezmann are kind of, well, Atletico Madrid is resigned to the fact that Griezmann will probably want to go. It's very clear that that Barcelona have tried to get him. There's been conversations and a meal between Griezmann's family and the directors of Barcelona that Atletico Madrid got so upset about because it was made so public that they went to FIFA to denounce it and to say this is not the way to do things. You should punish Barcelona. Let's see where that goes. But quite clearly, is another target. So can you imagine? Dembélé has come back now. He's fit again with Messi, Luis Suarez, Griezmann, Coutinho, Rakitic, Iniesta, Busquets. They have to, with that kind of team, they have to aim to win everything, of course.
Well, they do, don't they? They were on the wrong end of the transfer market in the summer in terms of losing a player what they would Neymar. Barcelona fans not used to that happening to them. The club weren't used to it happening to them either, were they, really? How do you think this signing will be welcomed by Barcelona fans?
It was necessary for many reasons. Some of them we described already, but there is another one, of course. The situation is changing between the super clubs. There are some that have got so much money that they're able to get all kind of players when they need them, the first targets. And now you feel that perhaps Real Madrid still belongs to that kind of level where when, you know, they want to get top players, they probably will get them, and they have the money for it. Barcelona is not like that anymore. So it feels like the end of an era for Barcelona. They are pushing to actually get those players, of course, but can they be able to continue spending money at this level? We're talking about, as it stands, and without those 7-8 players they want to get rid of, they've got about 80% of their income goes into wages. It's a huge amount. It's far too big. So the aim is to get these young players that can stay at Barcelona for a long while and help Barcelona to challenge, while bringing in much more income, a huge amount of income, to be able to actually keep the level of the, you know, Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, all those teams that have got so much money. Barcelona are hanging on there. They still think that they're able to compete in the market, as you've seen now, but how long for, then they don't even know.
Guillaume, thanks ever so much. Great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Well, earlier today, Barcelona